Hey, this is so awesome to be with all of you. Sorry we're starting a minute or so late. Had a few little technical connection challenges, but here we are for a special Financial Freedom University mini masterclass. And it is my absolute pleasure and joy to introduce to somebody that many of you know from our amazing Facebook community and from Financial for You Live, the amazing Tex Chalene. So big hello, Tex. Say hello, Tex.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, we got a bit of lag.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. How are you?
We're doing well. Tex, do we have a bit of a sound delay?
No, there wasn't a sound delay. There were two cameras going on at the same time. Hi, everyone. I'm so thankful to Anne for giving me this opportunity to share part of my learning up to now, which continues to be a learning journey as well for me, even though I'll be sharing. But great to be on this webinar.
Oh, this is great. And look, we got Sheila from Cape Town. We've got Nikki in London. This is so wonderful to see all the FF viewers. And so just as we get started, hey, we got Krishna in Cape Town. And so this is a mini masterclass all about setting up and getting started with these alternative asset class called vending machines. So in it, Tex is going to share some of his journey, why he decided to look into vending machines, how he went about finding out how the hell you do that, making his first evaluation, and then the very important thing, actually getting stuck in. Tex did it. And then, like everything, the real learning happens when you're doing it live. And yeah, I think Tex is going to share with us that. And so this is so great. So in this, from my side, I'll also be sharing, we'll be going backwards and forwards in a bit of an interview way, sharing some of the top 5 key sort of lessons or learnings to think about when you're setting up your vending machine business, some of the numbers, and we're also going to be opening up for some questions. But before we dive into that, Tex, I think it's so important we get a bit of context and your journey, which has just really been amazing. And so maybe if you just share with us a little bit, a few moments, what has been your journey? Because it's not like, that you've been creating all sorts of assets for years and different asset businesses, because I think a lot of people go, oh, well, it's all good and well for Tex. So I think it's really important, just where did this whole journey start for you, and what was that sort of catalyst?
Okay. No, thanks, Anne, for that. Hi, colleagues on the phone. Just in terms of my background, I am an HR professional of almost 23 years, and I have just known the corporate world in my life, and I never thought that there might be that entrepreneurial spirit within me. And as God would have it, 2013, we decided with my wife to move from one of the houses that we used to have. And before we moved, we had a very, very healthy cash flow. I would have quite a reasonable amount really after paying all my bills, supporting my family, my brothers, my sisters, and even my own family, and we were quite living comfortably. And on the basis of that, there was a point where we decided to change houses, and that was in 2012, if not mistaken. So beginning 2013 February, we moved into the new house, paid the first month, the second month. The third month, reality struck that, oh boy, you made a wrong decision, because we realized at that point that we did not really make all our analysis. We did not really put our ducks in a row. So we could still pay, but
the big liability walloped in your liability drawer.
Exactly. And the other thing is, and we did not now have the luxury of that free cash flow, if you like, running. So we are living, we were always looking at the calendar to say, when is the next month? And that's when on December of 2013, I came across a newspaper article. It was Sunday Times in South Africa that was talking to, which had your article. And it caught my eye. I read it, and then immediately went into the information that was there, and then I got the 12 steps, if not mistaken. And I
Yeah.
went through the 12 videos. From the 12 videos, I went into the 30-day money challenge, and from 30-day challenge, I went into financial freedom, as well as busting debt. And I must say, I have been since 2014 healthy debt-wise. The only debt that I have is good debt, if you like, except the fact that I still have the
Let's just
house.
stop there. That is like, oh my God. I mean, I think we need like a hell yeah from everybody. I just want to really acknowledge that, because I think sometimes we don't stop and acknowledge just what a big milestone it is to clear that consumer debt, that dragging down debt. Shit, amazing tip.
Definitely, yes. And really, my wife is not on the call now. I'm at Gibbs. I have not even went home, but I sent her the link. With her not being here, I also like to congratulate and to say to her, thank you for the support and the journey that we worked together to be here.
I think that's so key, because I think, many FFUs maybe are single or divorced on their own, but we have many couples in FFU, and often they're really challenged with actually how to be on that journey together. So maybe we've got to have a whole another masterclass on how to bring your partner in. And you and Pinky have done such an amazing journey to really embrace your financial freedom together.
Yeah, just say thanks, and for the latter point in terms of the journey. Like I said, I went through Financial Freedom University, was in the face-to-face class in Cape Town. But I'll be honest with you, the concept of vending machines, whether it's containers, car washes, is something that never crossed my mind. So thank you to your program. That's how actually
Financial Freedom University, you didn't already have this there.
I saw them. I was just a consumer from them, but it never crossed my mind that it could be something that I can look at and create as one of the portfolios for my financial freedom.
Yeah. So that's where the seed got planted.
Correct. That's where the seed got planted.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So take us through. You focused on your debt, you were squeezing the juice, getting it down, you and Pinky getting together on this, getting other assets working, and something about, okay, you want to passive business, vending machines, sparked your mind.
Okay. And let me put it this way. I never went into vending machines specifically. I started researching car washes, looked at the vending machines, looked at the containers and the like. But here's the key, which comes from Richard Branson. His quote about, when somebody gives you an opportunity, don't think about how to do it perfectly. Get on the way and then learn how to do it later. So I was so keen to just get started.
I hope you've all written that down. Absolutely. Because I think we can get so stuck in analysis paralysis. So huge aha there.
So from that point, and I just said, you know what, let me research, and then after looking at the containers, which I think is a fabulous concept, but for me, it was just about the rigmarole you need to go through, understanding customs and all those things. I said, elimination, forget. I'll see it at a later stage. It was about getting started. Car washes, said probably that was one of the good concepts. But the long story short, the vending machine just landed naturally to me, and I said, I'm going to explore that. And then how I went to go, how I went about, like I said, went through the internet, did a desktop search. And because I did the desktop search in terms of how vending machine works, but then started going where I worked and started to find out who is running the vending machine. But that part I did not explore much at the beginning, but I just went into the website. And for people from other countries, I don't know what is the association, but I came across what is called the Vending Association of South Africa on Google. And from there...
So you first narrowed down and then you started doing research. Yeah,
correct. That's the first thing I did.
You just got to be able to spend your time and wade through. So great, you found there's actually an association. And I think that's mostly a really good tip for people. First find, is there a sort of body that governs it? So is this a body that sort of is like an oversight body?
But not a legal body per se. I think it's just a body that has been established just to build the
Wonderful. I hope we're not losing Tex at a key point. Let's see, hopefully his signal. There we go. Okay, you're back. So there we go.
I am.
You said association. No, you're back. You're back.
Yes. Okay. I was just saying, maybe just to go a step back, before I came across the Vending Association of South Africa, I came across one of the vending machine providers in South Africa. And as I was researching, looking at their website, it looked to be a clean, nice website. But as I went down, I realized Hello Peter, and there were a bit of complaints around the person. And I was already at the final stages of signing the contract. And that's where then on Hello Peter, I saw the link to VASA, the Vending Association of South Africa. Yes, that's actually how I came across. Then I went to VASA, I saw the name and the contacts of the chairperson, gave him a call and just asked questions as to how does the Vending Association of South Africa works. And then he told me that members join by own volition. It's not necessarily a legal body, but they come together just to improve on the profession itself so that they can give the better service. And then he suggested a couple of vending providers that I can work with. And vending providers in this instance means people who actually sells the machine to the people who, like me and you, who would like to go into that business. So I looked at 5.
So let me just stop at this point, because I think what's key is let's give everyone a bit of a higher overview. So essentially, for creating your own vending machine business and creating an asset, so essentially you end up buying or leasing a vending machine.
Yes.
You need to also then find a location and get a deal in place for that. And then you stock the vending machine and it churns money. So this is really key. You've got a relationship with somebody you either buy or hire that machine from. So that's the vending machine provider.
Yes.
Then you've got a relationship with wherever you're going to have the vending machine. And then obviously you have a relationship with your customers, who are the ones that are buying from the vending machine. And I guess also your suppliers for stocking that vending machine.
Correct, yes.
So I just wanted to put that big picture in place. And then your money is created by the money that you create from the difference from your stock coming through, less your expenses of the cost of that side. Great, just so that everybody's clear, this is essentially the model. And then the more machines you can have, the more that goes working for you. Brilliant. So, okay, so and I love the fact that you did your research. You'd already, got involved. But I think that's such a good tip about, as you're finding your vending machine provider, so who you're going to buy or lease your machine from, you do your research. Go onto sites, consumer sites, check if there's reports. Really do that. I mean, the internet really does provide an extraordinary bit there. Great. So you had narrowed down. And I also love the fact that you called the association. And I think so often people are afraid to just ask questions. They think they're meant to look cool or sad. And I love the fact you just asked and asked and asked and asked.
Yes.
Brilliant. So now you narrowed down your vending provider.
Say that again, Ian.
Now you've narrowed down your vending machine provider. So then what was the next step?
Okay, then the other thing was, now I have the vending machine provider, but now how do I get the venue? Then that is at that point where I learned that you find the vending providers who say, we sell you the machine, but we also help you to look for a venue. But then we also charge a certain markup, say, on top of the price of the vending machine, maybe at 2 or 3% of the venue. And then you've got other people that says, no, we'll work with you. You also look for the venue. We look for the venue. And if you get it, there is no cost to it. And I realized that the latter is the best option, rather than finding someone who says, I look for the venue, even if they found the venue, but you can still negotiate to say, I'm still buying the vending machine from you. And the reason I'm saying that is because I realized immediately as I got into this business that actually these vending providers, it's not in all cases where they actually look for the venues. Most of the companies, they know them. They call them and say, as a call center, as this organization, we are looking for a vending machine for our business. So that's why I realized that actually they are not going out actively to go and look for customers. Customers do call them. And now, since now I'm in their database, they can easily call me and say, hey, Old Mutual or Vodacom, this and this, they are looking for a vending machine. Are you prepared to buy the vending machine for us? So all the vending machine sites I have, that's how I got them. They called the vending company that I have a relationship with, and then they put the numbers to me, and then that's how I made a decision to say I'm going ahead.
You know, and so I think that's key. I guess it's a bit like finding a sourcing agent, say, in property, but about really leveraging off and going, okay, there's a relationship here, so use that. Brilliant.
Yes. Okay.
So now you then decided to go with them. So you enter into a contract. Now, is it did you buy the vending machines or did you lease them? And are there options?
So I looked at 3 options in South Africa, and all of them, they are quick to, they want to sell the machines. They don't want to stay with the inventory. Yeah. So, but of late, with my research, I found that, for example, ABI, Coca-Cola, they can provide you a fridge. You don't buy it from them so long as you source product from them. So it still remains their property. But with what I have currently, I've bought all of those machines.
Great. Okay, so now you've bought the machine and you found the locations.
Yes. Yes.
So now you got a machine and the location. Now, did you? So, was there some research in terms of what kind of machine? What are the sort of aspects there? Or maybe we can circle around to some of those things, or whether it was relevant. But in terms of these 2, how did you know at this stage? Could you choose your different locations? You know, how did you go about deciding which location? Because I'm sure that is really important, because, you know, you can have a location stuck behind a building that nobody goes past, or, you know, different locations. So how did the location side, because I guess that, you know, that's key. It's foot traffic. You're wanting people going past your machine.
So let me start on the sites that I have, and then I'll come to that point. How I got my sites is these the facilities managers in these businesses called the company that I used, and they said they are looking for vending machine. But that in itself was not just, hey, I'm excited, I've got a site. Then what we had to do was to look at what are the numbers of the employees at that site. So the recommendation based on the people that I worked with was at least 120 and above. And that's one. Secondly, a venue like a call center where people are there 24 hours is a good site. And then look, for example, whether there are shops or shopping malls or shopping centers in the close proximity. And it does not necessarily mean that if there are shopping centers close to you, you cannot do the business, but just to be aware, especially if employees were to want to take a walk or a break, but just taking those into consideration. Yes, correct. Yeah. So that's how I looked at the vending machines that I currently have. There was only 2 instances where I went out to the companies and knocked on their doors. And in both instances, they happen to be government institutions, and I need to be careful what I say here. They liked the concept of the vending machines to be on their site, but because I approached them, they started to want a certain percentage. They never mentioned what the percentage should be. But the lady who I started buying the machines from made me aware of that and said, you never get into a contract where you have to pay a rental amount, because you put a value proposition that says for the safety of your employees, and for the time that they take to go outside, you know, you're saving them time. So at least there's a positive benefit that you bring into an organization. And you just need a small space and electricity, and really does not charge electricity. So as far as that, I haven't gone into those relationships yet.
But I just want to reiterate for everybody listening, I think this is so important. And I think it's really important also about confidence, because when we come into something, really being clear about the value that actually providing this provides. Because I think so often we can almost, when we're new in something, or we think we're asking somebody a favor, and can inadvertently, as you say, end up paying more money than you need to, or entering into a contract. So I love the fact that you actually, right up front, you really get clear on what's the benefit for the business, why why they should allow you to have it in. As you say, free of charge. You don't want to be paying it. What a great tip.
Yes, yes. So yeah, that's how I got the mentions that I have after we have run those numbers, looked at for example, the proximity to shops and frequent walk-ins. And on this one, I'll jump quickly into the lessons, but I quickly learned that with the walk-ins, it is difficult to maintain because, you know, when you are in a safe environment like a corporation or a company, employees have got certain values that they need to protect from the company. They hardly click those machines, they hardly shake them. But if it's just an open area with no one that has got interest in that organization, like a hospital, for example, not to say you cannot put it into the hospital, but it's someone who interest, they come in and go, you know. So those are the things that I had to look at in putting those machines.
Really good.
So I have
the security of your machine. Very good point.
Correct. Yes. So, and if I understood your question earlier, yes, those are things that we looked at when we finally said this is the location. Just to recap on that point, it was.
I know we ran the numbers.
Yes.
So just high level numbers in terms of, obviously you also did the assessment of what was the investment you need to put in per machine, you know, assuming you've got a good location where you've got the right, at least above 120 employees, a safe environment, an environment where there's through traffic, environment where you're not paying lease, but also preferably an environment where people have got invested interest in their environment, not just a sort of public place. So you've got all those right boxes ticked. What are the sort of average numbers that to do high level to determine whether you want to go for it or not?
And it's a very difficult one to answer, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to help people on the call, but let me put, just based on my experience and talking to my mentor, the person that firstly sold the machine to me. You know, like remembering your module in property, that there's an amount that you put up front to buy a property, and then you can run numbers in terms of what could be your lease, what could be your returns, and all those things. Unfortunately, in this business, is more of the numbers of employees at that site first that you need to determine. And then once the numbers are over 120, then because before we could even put the machine in, it was to send a sort of a survey your employees be looking for. So they started circulating that. And based on the response, then we just made it is not a scientific study, but just an assessment that said, you know, at least on this side, we can replenish maybe once a week or twice a week. So we went in with that, and, you know, it was not proved up front. You prove it once you are at the site, whether it's working or not.
So just sort of some
so that's the proof that
so obviously, so I think this is always important. You can never know for certain until you're actually in it. The same way that's property, same with shipping container, because you've got to make some assumptions. So just some sort of high level numbers, typically for a vending machine. What's an average cost of a vending machine? You can give it in South African Rand and I can convert it into other currencies. What are you typically looking at? What's the investment?
So there are usually two sizes that are in the market, especially for your chips, cold drinks, and your confectionery type. The small one, which can take up to, say, 120 products, different types of products. In total, 120 goes for a refurbished machine goes for 48,000 Rand.
Great.
And a new machine goes for.
So it's about, you know, so let's round it up to about 50,000 Rand. So that's about $4,000 and about 3,500 pounds. So for that machine. Okay. So that's the sort of investment.
I trust you.
Yeah.
I trust your numbers.
big numbers. Okay, so that's the kind of investment you're looking at per machine. And then.
And there's a bigger machine.
Okay.
There's the bigger machine. I was referring to the small. There's a bigger machine which takes more product, up to 180 to 200 different types of items, and then that goes to a refurbished one for 57,000 rand, and the brand new goes for 85,000.
Okay, so about 60 to 80,000 rand. So that's about 5 to 7,000 US dollars, about 4 to 5,000 pounds. Okay, so we got this sort of scale. So now in terms of revenue, these different products, I know you did some high level numbers and some scenario planning, and you know, assuming based on the number of products, because there are sort of figures that X number of employees would typically consume so many types of products. What is your range of payback period? So that payback is one of the key things, numbers to look at when you're looking at investments. So there's obviously your return on investment, your ROI, your annualized return on investment. So that's your money in versus the income that you're going to get. So that's one number. There's also your internal rate of return, which is the same as your analyzed return on investment. But another great number is to look at just your payback. How long will it take you to pay back that money? So typically when you started off, what was some of your assumptions around the payback period? Was it 6 months, 1 year? Was it 4 years to pay back a vending machine? What was the sort of ballpark?
It was 12 months, and let me just qualify a bit there.
Yeah.
And this is part of the learning from me as
the assumption. But I'm saying, you know, often we go and we first evaluate, then we get the data and see what that means. So a 12-month payback. So based on the analysis, if everything went according to plan, within 12 months, you'd get your full amount back. And then after that's effectively an infinite rate of return.
Yes. That was my assumption at the beginning, but I was awakened very early on the first side, because it did not like kick immediately. So it took probably literally the first 2 weeks without seeing much traction in the first site. Yeah. And so the product was just dormant, laying out there. But during the third, if not mistaken, or the fourth week, I started to see things are going. But then part of my learning in that at that point was at that moment I was not clear in my head, or rather I had not yet identified where actually do I buy and my products, and where do I get them at a discounted price, so that I can start making more of a see more traction in terms of what I'm doing. So the first up to the third month was a bit of a learning for me. So that added from 12, it shifted it a bit to 18 months to say once I start to see the product going, and then I buy at reduced prices and then put a markup in terms of the price, then I can work towards 15. So that I learned as time went by.
But, you know, that is brilliant. So now if we use something as simple as the good old rule of 72, so remember that's one of the great hacks that we learn in Financial University. You can just take 72 and you can say, okay, what is the return you'll get to double your money? So you can also work out indirectly and going, okay, to, you know, get your money back, effectively double it from that investment, what would that be? So even at 18 months, so if we take 72 and we divide it by 1,5, because that's 18 months is 1.5 years, that's a 48% return on your investment.
Are you still there?
Yes, can you hear me? Oh, we've just lost Tex. So Tex is going to be joining us back again, but let me keep reiterating. So what I'm showing is that even with Tex's learning curve, so his scenario, it's taking 18 months to repay back his capital investment by the earnings from that machine. So a 1.5 year payback means a 48% return on investment. So we've got, looks like we're getting Tex back. Yes, we got Tex back. So what I was just saying, Tex, was even at an 18 month, with the learning curve of your first ones, that's effectively a 48% return on your investment, which is pretty damn sexy. So let's see, do we have Tex back? Oh, I hope so. Looks like you're frozen, Tex. So while we're getting Tex's signal and back fully, so he's really covered some great things. So let's reiterate. And I see that, you know, Sheila, you're saying, how is this passive? How is you going? So remember, there is no such thing as a truly passive business. There's no such thing as a truly passive investment. And so one of the reasons why I like to call them low input businesses, it's about you always, whether you put an online program, whether you write a book, everything is about, first up front, you're going to do a whole lot of work to create an asset, and then the asset works for you. Remember, an asset is something that works for you and can earn money and deliver value without you having to be involved in that chain. And that's exactly what a vending machine is. But what's really important is what Tex is showing so beautifully in his sharing, is it is a business. And so if you wanting to, you know, think that there's something out there that you can just get, it's going to churn money up for you without you having to oversee it, you're going to very quickly lose money. So you've got to think anything is a business, whether it's investment property, whether it's your stocks and shares. The more you treat them as a business, and remember I said you are the CEO of your life and you've got these assets. So there's always this upfront research, understanding, finding your venues, doing this, then getting in place. Your first machine that you put in is going to be the one where all of your learning is on. And how brilliant, like in Tex's case, the fact that your learning can be paid for. So he had got all his money out of that first vending machine within 18 months. And so he could now take that money and put it in the next vending machine and into the next and so on and build up. And because now that vending machine, the original vending machine, was now basically kicking off the money to buy more assets. And so as he's building that up, so now, is it fully passive? No, what it is you are the CEO. And as you build up more machines, just like with property, you can then employ somebody else. But I really encourage everybody when they start creating a passive, a low input business, be involved, get to know the numbers, and you get to know the numbers by doing exactly what you're doing, by doing what Tex has done. You start off, you do the research, because there is no other better way of learning, by taking action. You know, that's exactly what we do in Financial Freedom University. At each step, you've got to take that action. You've really got to learn. So absolutely. So Tex started off. So unfortunately, we seem to have lost him, but I'm sure he'll come back on when he's managed to get his signal. So fortunately, I know Tex's story very well, and because he's just so abundant in learning. So Tex actually started off, and he decided off with his numbers. He did one initially, but he had already had 3 others in the pipeline. And so he learned from this, and he really got some key things going. So Tex now has 4 vending machines in these different locations. And I'm going to when he comes back on, I'm going to let him share some of his key learnings. But he's already shared some key things. Do your research, ask loads of questions, finding your provider of your vending machines plus your locations. You can go and have deals with vending machines, locations, and I don't know whether you noticed, he just slipped in there, and I actually put my Coca-Cola red on specifically for the vending machine masterclass, because actually there's certain things like Coca-Cola where you just act as an intermediary. It looks like we're getting Tex back on, so let's hope we can see when he connects his camera and his sound getting back on. So there we go. We got you back again, Tex.
Oh, I thought it was you. I lost Cassette.
Yay! So we got you back. So I've just been sharing something. So basically, and we just did the numbers, said essentially in a year and a half, you got your money back, which is effectively a 48% return on your investment, which is pretty spectacular, yep, especially when you're starting off. And I think this is so important in every business. People underestimate the learning curve. You learn by doing, and it's the best way. And you learned and got a bloody spectacular rate of return. So you started off with that very first one, and we've had some questions saying, great, so how many are you going now? So what happened from there, Tex?
Okay, from which point?
So you got your first machine, you know, it started initially slow the first few weeks, and you realized it was more like an 18-month payback period.
Okay, so from there, I think it was because the first vending machine I think I got in October, and then I went the second one in November, and it was a different experience with the second one, and was the second site where I put two machines at the same time, because it was a call center and they had the two floors, and to be honest, on that machine immediately, and I saw another question about who fills the vending machine. So immediately as I went into that site, things started booming. I was replenishing there once a week, but you can say it's twice because it's two different machines at different levels. Yes, and from those two machines, then I could leverage on the other one.
Okay.
And now, yes, because I could now start to use the profits I'm getting from these two machines to start even replenishing for the other one. But luckily, on the second or third month of that other machine, then things started pulling together. Yes. So now I had
to give that buffer, and I love the fact, and I think this is one of the great things about the vending machine model, a bit like just having small apartments. The relative investment in each one is relatively small, so your risk exposure is small. So when you've got more opportunity to cross subsidize effectively, and so that the whole portfolio works, you're just shown so beautifully there. Brilliant. So then what?
So the vending machines at the call center, the two that I'm talking about, were effectively they are running themselves, and I probably will come to the question about how is this passive if you have to fill the machine. And then earlier this year I got another one. Actually, the gentleman was selling the site together with the machine, so it was already an operating site, and it's one of the old machines but big, and it carries a lot of product, and that site is just running together the same like the call center one. So I can say effectively I've got 3 machines at 2 sites that are running quite well. So when you start talking to people, like when I started going to my site, then I started meeting other people who says to me, we see you running machines, and I've got these other 2 machines that I want to sell. But I took a breather there, and I said, you know what, I'm still trying to find my feet with these 4 that I have. I don't want to just bring a lot of inventory with me. I haven't even explored the leasing process, and because some of the work I was doing myself, I said, no, I cannot spread myself now because I'm still full-time employed. So yeah, currently I have those 4 machines, 3 at 2 sites that are running quite effectively, and I'm just doing a comparison. All of them are running well, but it's just that the other 2 sites are better than the one of the sites.
And the same is going to be with whether it's certain products you create in an online business, whether it's certain investment property, where it's certain of your index trackers in your investment portfolio. But I think the important thing is you have that diversification, so you literally don't have all of your chips in one machine.
Yes.
Okay, I was being really pitched there.
Yeah. I missed that question.
No, I'm just saying, firstly, wow. I just want to say the pace, you took action. So literally, it's not even a year.
Yes, it's not a year yet.
And, I think what you're showing, so I think is so key here is at this point that in effectively 6 months, you've got an effective business running. You've got positive cash flow. You've got the cash flow that can, as you say, can fund the inventory refueling. And you're doing what is very, very wise, which is making sure that you now stop, you evaluate, you look at how it's working rather than just rushing. Because I think so many people can go too fast. If they go almost come from a fear base and go, okay, I want this in 1 year to have replaced all of my income, and so this crazy overextending. And in like any business, you can end up the cash flow issues, and rather you can stop, have a breather, really evaluate what's worked, what didn't work, why those certain sites. And as you say, people are now coming to you, offering you sites, machines.
Yes.
And you can now go, oh, okay. So if you added 2 machines a year, you know, how many machines would you need to be able to pay somebody to just do the refilling? Because obviously we're going to get to what makes a low input business, that vending, and maybe, you know, I don't know, pay for your mortgage or pay one stream of income into your asset pot. You know, what's your goal?
To be honest, I haven't done the analysis specifically for me. I'll be honest there. But you know, now as I got into the business and started to look for which I'll share in the learnings in terms of who can help me maintain the machines and stuff. Because the contract as far as machines, I've got 12 months maintenance contract. So, but now I was starting to think I had to say beyond the 12 months, how am I going to do this? Then I met another gentleman who told me that he's running at least 20 machines at the moment. So, and then I started asking him questions as to, but now how is he running them? Is he doing it himself? Is he seeing quite a good cash flow? So I mean, it's not someone that I'm used to, and so he didn't go into the detail. So, but I could see potential. I can't give you a number or anyone on the call, a specific number to say these are the number of machines that I think I should have, so that and maybe start to reap bigger benefits. But just based on the studies that I had at the beginning from VASA, I realized that between 12 to 15 machines, I mean, can give you a decent salary of at least 30,000 in the South African space. And I'm
So
cognizant.
1,000 US. I mean, that's a juicy additional income that can be funding part of your lifestyle, your holidays, all sorts of amazing things.
Yes,
Wow.
and I'm cognizant that that number is subjective based on the size that you get and the like, but that was the average. So it's learning as well as for me to say, just to look clearly as to how many machines I need to start to have. But I'll be honest, just based on the 4 machines per week, I can put aside a decent amount, you know, that is minus what I take to refill or to replenish. So I already see quite a positive spin if I focus and really do things according to the book.
And you know, this is really when you start understanding how your financial freedom starts accelerating.
Yes,
because now you've taken the time, you've taken the energy to do the research, to do the work. As you say, while you're salaried employed, you know, it's how I created my freedom too. You were prepared to spend your nights, some of your weekends, you and Pinky, putting this in place. And now you put systems in place. Now those assets can buy you other assets. So you say
correct, yes.
Consuming it, you make sure that that's directed to, well, who knows, maybe stock market, or buy another vending machine, or maybe a investment property, or maybe a shipping container. But then these assets buy your assets. So you have this compounding effect on compounding.
Yes,
and because you've really grasped that you need these multiple streams of income, which are really going to protect you. So as you have these coming in, you can have other sides. Now, I know you've got some other juicy things up your sleeve. So I just want to ask 1 or 2 little questions, and then maybe we open up for some questions here. So just key learnings for you. We haven't really covered on things like selecting your products. I know you mentioned, you know, one of the key things is to realize you're actually selling a product to people. So you need to know that. You know, I think you mentioned that you did a survey. Do you now go in and see, you know, what are people consuming, and adjust your what you supply based on that?
Definitely, yes. Because I took the same concept that we do in business, that you cannot give people the product that is your own taste, rather get it from them. So that is where we started, by understanding what exactly are people looking for. And even at the beginning, I realized that some people, you know, would not respond at the same time. So based on that, I started to look at the trends. For example, if a product went for 2 weeks steady and nothing happened, I would definitely pull it out and then change it to a different location, and then sometimes I found that it's moving in that location. And Yes, and then I would start to ask the people, literally go to them to say, if I replace this because I see it is not moving, what would you look for? Because I realized that I did a survey which was circulated. Some people do not respond on the email, but I thought if I were to talk to them, so what I did, I went during lunch, especially in your call centers environment, they are congregating in one area. And then as I came, I would say, sorry to disturb your lunch, but what would you look for? So I interacted directly with them to start finding out what is it that they are looking for. And just from that experience, I started to see that there's a certain form of snacks, chips that was going faster. I even started to remove one of the rows that was for cool drinks, just to create space because I realized this would be my cash cow. So I was just responding to a particular need at that point to say, this is going, I would rather sell it more than something which is not, without really compromising others in the process. Yeah.
That is just so fantastic. Well, again, I just want to thank you so much for your abundance. But we're going to ask you questions. We've got some lovely questions from Jan and Sophia and Libby. But I also just want to just share that you're amazing. I mean, so many of my FF viewers are, and their abundance in sharing this. But you're also creating an online business as well.
Yes. So just maybe before I go into the online business, just on the customers, one of the things is just besides talking to them in terms of understanding the requirements and following up on what sells, one of the key things I really took out of this process was customer satisfaction and really how to handle their queries. I started to realize that, with vending machines, you will always have that thing of I put my money, but the product didn't come out. Or rather, someone put in their money and then push a wrong row, but he was looking for EA instead of EB. And then how do you handle that? And then the third lesson that I learned was to start picking up the common actors in the process. And I started, because I'm doing this currently myself, and probably that's another question. I started realizing that, but I have more or less the same people complaining about the machine having their products stuck. and then I started asking them directly to say, but I seem to have this problem only with you. What is this machine having on you? And after having those conversations, those queries started to subside, but the people continue to support me. So what I'm saying is that you would have genuine concerns, and then you would have chances in the process. But I just learned how to go about, because then I started to establish relationships on those sites, because you can get machines, they've got telemetry system which you can put into the machine, which is in South African terms 9,000 rand, but then it can read your stock. You can reconcile with your phone for you not to go constantly.
Yes.
Wow. Yes, but I'm not at that stage where I can buy that as yet. So I'm still using a physical process of working in and determining myself. But then what I learned, instead of a telemetry, establish relationships on those sites and give a small token, because I would call my connect in those sites and say, hey, just take me a pic, the front pic of the vending machine, and from that I can see what has moved, what is not moving, and then so that when I come, I replenish what is missing, rather than just bring a lot of stock.
I so love this. I think, well, you can see you're in human resources, but you are such a connector. But I love these hacks that you're going. You don't have to, use the fact that these are people, create relationships. These are people you're serving, and it can be a win-win.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, that is just amazing.
No, thanks, and
questions, or have you got some other key little learnings that you'd think would be relevant for people that we haven't touched yet?
One of the learnings was not just understanding the customer requirements or how to deal with complaints, but also just have a little understanding on the maintenance part of the machine. For example,
from Libby on maintenance.
Oh, yes, yes. There would be those things like the machine is no longer taking the notes, or the change is not coming out. So things like just learning how to load the change into the machine, how to just even use the hair dryer to blow the machine so that it can breathe and stuff. Those are minor things that there's a manual that you easily can learn. You don't always have to call a technician. You can go to YouTube and just get the step-by-step process of how to solve a certain thing, because the maintenance issues are not really big. It's just about why is the spiral not turning, and then how to fix that. Why is the machine not giving change? It's usually a matter of a shortage of change in the machine. Why is the notes not being accepted? Find that maybe a note inside the machine is bent. So yes, and so they are not really huge maintenance issues. It's not you coming with a big toolbox to come and fix.
I'm really getting the sense of here, which is like the word curiosity is coming up for me. Approach this like an adventure, an excitement.
Correct, yes.
You go, okay, yeah, you're building a business, but when you start off small, try it and go, you know what? Hey, I'm sure I'll be able to work that out. I love that. Get a YouTube video. Bring your head right. When you come at something with, I'm sure I'll be able to, rather than, oh my God, this is going to be scary or expensive, it just creates such a different energy. And I love your energy around this. There's my clients, I can call them, just take a picture. It's this, there's almost an energy of a softness around, let this be, instead of this, oh, it's going to be difficult, hard, and the bloody person kicking my vending machine. Because I think
yes, correct. Yes, and maybe just leading into one of the questions that I saw earlier was, but who replenishes the machines? So currently I do, but the reason why I started doing it, I just wanted to get a handle on the business, what's going on, what works, what sells quickly, and just to have a trend, just to understand the trends, because these machines, they are not like automated. So whoever runs your machine, there must be that level of trust. You give them the keys, and then they go open them. They take out the cash and all those things. So I think I am going up to that stage as well. Because I'm radical, to be honest, in my thinking. I'm even at the stage where I'm trying to start to change my working week from 5 to 4 as a start, but I'm not there yet. But really, the idea is not necessarily for me to physically push the trolley and go there. But here's the lesson for me, is to be comfortable to even push that trolley and go and replenish myself, irrespective of my role at my organization, which is Shell. Because I realize that sometimes we are consumed by ego, that I cannot drive this, I cannot put this into the machines. And even some of the customers and the clientele, when I go to them, they treat you that way, as this guy who's just pushing this machine. But when, and which I not put even forward, I like that. But some of them, because I'm also promoting my blog, when I start exchanging my business cards from my blog, it is then that they try to give you the respect of who you are. They no longer treat you as that vending boy, But I'm saying to them, but now, the moment I hand over to somebody to run this for me, I want you to treat them the right way, as someone who's also assisting to bring product closer to you. And you shouldn't respect me now because you know that I'm this executive in Shell, So those are some of the learnings that I learned. So yeah, with time, I will definitely leave it out for someone to run.
This is huge. And I think you've hit the nub of actually real wealth creation, of actually being prepared to do what it takes to create what you really want.
Yes.
Which many people aren't. But I think there is such this beautiful journey within, and you exude this. And I just want to thank you for what you shared, because I think what is so beautiful is when we can notice that how often our ego can get in our way.
Yes, correct, yes.
And what is so beautiful what you shared, we can go, oh, well, that's beneath me, or I shouldn't be doing that, or I'm not prepared to put myself in this situation to learn and experiment, because somehow, you know, a lot of people get caught into, I have to live in such and such a house, or my kids have to go to such and such school, I've got to drive that. And they keep themselves locked effectively in a poverty chain because of their ego. And you've just demonstrated so beautifully that when you can separate your wealth creation, your asset creation from your own self-worth,
yes, correct, yes.
Actually, you start having those conversations with people, and you start seeing their own prison that they trapped in judgment of themselves and not others. So, wow, Tex, just what a beautiful side. And I absolutely agree with you. In every single asset I create, every business I've created and done, I've always started off doing every component of the business.
Of it, yes.
Because then I know what it entails. So then your next step, and the next step that you're going to be creating, is now systemizing.
Yes, correct, yes.
Process? And this is so important. So those that haven't read, say, E-Myth, great book on why it's so important to literally then be able to go, okay, you do this step, that step, when you create, just, you know, take the photo of the thing. It's very hard to create automated systems if you've never been involved in it, because it might be that little hack, like take along the hairdryer or check this little thing that you can add now to the systemization of your business. So, I just love the fact that you have let your ego get out the way and made your financial freedom for you so important. And you are now, so Tex is also, wow, multiple hats like we all are, an extraordinary executive coach, so a business coach, helping people really expand in their own lives, in the corporate side, how to grow in their careers. You're creating an online business. It says that you've got your vending machine, you're investing in stock market assets. You and Pink, you can just have a whole side of helping others in relationships, of how to have these empowered money conversations in your relationship, and all of this while still salaried employed. But shifting the mindset, you can change your whole work environment to different days. So even 2 years ago, did you imagine you would be in this position?
Definitely not. Especially when you speak about the coaching slash motivational, inspirational speaking world. I have been in the talent development space for the bigger part of my career, and someone at one point asked me to say, Tex, but you are brilliant when you speak to the staff. Aren't you considering to do this yourself? And I did not consider it as well. But as I went through your program, when you're talking about passive income and then setting up your own business, that's when I took seriously the whole thing of getting a qualification in coaching, and I studied through inner life skills. And actually I'm intending to continue with a master qualification in the institution where I'm sitting now, because I had a program this afternoon. So I'm sitting at the University of Pretoria at Gibbs in South Africa at the moment. So I'm planning to advance my qualification in that regard in this space. So I have established a blog since last year, October, and since then I've been consistently sending out articles every week. So actually tomorrow I'm sending out...
What is the name of your blog?
It's Dreams Made Possible. Dreamsmadepossible.blog. Yeah. So tomorrow or Thursday, I'll be running with the first lead magnet, which will be called How to Build a Successful Career in 7 Easy Steps, the ultimate guide to career professionals. Because I realized that I'm focusing on personal growth, career transitions, and leadership. But in terms of the blog and on Facebook, I was just spray painting, if you like. But now I'm niching it to career professionals. So that's why I'll be running that lead magnet tomorrow or Thursday.
Your book is coming out about your extraordinary personal journey to this place.
Yes, it's coming out in October. Actually, it should have been this month in August, but my publisher is running, because we're doing self-publishing. So yeah, it's when I just saw the cover and everyone on the call, I was so excited, as if the book is already here. But I just thought, It's not just what you put on top of the soil, but it's what you add within the soil, so that it can germinate. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that day when we launch the book. So it's called, Face the Man in the Mirror, the person in the mirror.
Is beautiful. That is just so beautiful. So we'll share the link below this video for everyone on the replay about your blog and link. So just sort of closing out, one or two questions on the vending machine. I've seen the time, and I know you've got to get home, Pinky.
Okay.
So last question. I know you already did, Rachel, but Jana said, what kind of locations are suitable? Shops, garages, and hotels. So I think, just to recap, your key point was that you need to be thinking about foot flow, traffic. So you're wanting at least 120, you said employees, but I guess in a hotel, different size, hospital. But you said you also really want to think about, do people have a vested interest in looking after that space? So one of the challenges about the public places, I guess that would be garages, even hotels, maybe a bit hospitals, shops, is that people will tend to, not even conscious, but they might just treat it more disrespectfully than if a colleague's walking past and going, oi, don't behave like that. So you might have higher maintenance issues in those kind of locations. Are there any other key pointers on locations?
Yeah, with the hospitals, I would not even take them off the list, much as they are highly frequented, because what I've seen, especially in your private hospitals, is that there are cameras there, so they are treated with respect. Maybe, I'm not sure with other countries, guys, I'm just wearing my South African hat. With our public hospitals, that is where maybe the challenge might be, because many people walk through those centers, and maybe that might be a challenge. The other thing is, with your public hospitals like the ones we have, is these people might not have a recourse to call you so that they can get their change or their product back. So that's where the frustration comes in. But in corporates, they know that you're coming in and then you can be able to exchange. But with the garages...
about that relationship with your clients.
Correct. But with the garages, in the South African context, I don't think that is the best location. The reason I'm saying that, I know that there's competition between my employer, Shell, Sasol, Total, and all those companies, and all of them are building that space where they bring in select stores inside them. I know we've got vending machines.
Retail space, so they're not going to want the competition.
Yes, definitely not. But your dealers, are also one of the best sites, as people are coming to bring their cars for services. But again, it will depend on how the dealer is frequented. So yeah, I've seen that dealers are also making good returns as well.
Great. And Sophia, my darling, you've said, would you advise to start off with one vending machine or container? So here's the thing. Do what Tex did. Tex is such a beautiful example of really following the freedom journey. Got to grips with his spending, really got rid of that consumer debt, built up the assets, the stock market investing, and then said, okay, let's look at the side. And he researched and he found one. So remember that old adage, a fox who chases many rabbits catches none. So Sophia, you'll also be doing a masterclass on containers. Get a sense of what sort of maybe interests you. They're very different. The vending machines will have significantly higher returns than your containers. Your containers are more passive, but there's a bit more complexity in terms of maybe some Forex or different contracts. And you've got to really think of whether it's an online business, whether it's vending, it's a business. And so give yourself space to choose one thing and really deep dive into it. Rather choose that one. So if you're going to go container, Sophia, do the research. Say, I'm really going to take your containers to their natural conclusion. And their conclusion might be, do the research, like text it, and decide, no, I'm not going to go there. But first focus on one thing. And if you're going to go for vending machines, go for it. Tex is still just at the starting point of his vending machine empire. But it's also only 6, 7 months, 8 months maybe in this. And so typically I've found per asset group, you want to give it at least a year and really immerse yourself. get the learnings, because this is part of this real challenge that with time that all of us have to grapple with, where so often as humans we significantly underestimate what we can do in 10 years and we overestimate what we can do in one. And so we often in this rush and we want everything to happen at the same time. And so like I did, we become this octopus on roller skates. We do so many different things, but instead just put one leg on one roller skate, do that well, and then you can add the next one. And then you actually build a solid tower rather than a whole lot of piecemeal stuff. So it's saying, choose one that you feel excited to explore and explore it properly, just like Tex done. And you could say, well, Anne, look at all the other things Tex has done. He has, but it's been really focused in building up these different aspects. So lots of
Can I just mention two things there, Anne?
Yes, jump in.
Yes. There was a question about frequency and if this is passive. In terms of the frequency, like I said at the beginning, depending on the need. Currently, my machines require me to replenish once a week, but I already see a trend where I might have to replenish twice a week. But then the question was, but how is it passive then if you do that? What I've learned up to now is the weekend because I've just set Friday to go aside to the actual machine. So I don't do every day. It is only about going to on Friday to cash out and then to replenish. So when I'm at home, it's running by itself. I don't have to be there. And then the other thing is in terms of the stock. There's another organization in South Africa. They can still even deliver to your house. So I can just send them what I need and then they deliver. But for now, I haven't used that because it's on my way to work. But I already see, even if I don't have to go to work, I can leverage on them, send my needs to them, and then they just deliver to my place. So I don't necessarily even have to go and purchase stock personally or physically with them. So that's where I see the passive part of it coming into play. So it's not like totally it's hands off, you won't be there, but I am not there every day. Let me put it that way.
Absolutely. And I think, as you said, you really need to be active in your passive business. It's still about being the CEO. And then as they get more, you build it, whether it's all sides. So just a huge thank you. Thank you to everyone for being here. I hope you're reading all these comments, Tex, and taking this on board, because as we know, as every viewer, it's so important that we acknowledge the success. And you are an inspiration. Libby said, well done, so impressive, awesome text. Absolutely brilliant text from Bianca, so very informative. And just really own that. And you are such an inspiration. And I just, this is part of, I feel so grateful to be part of this amazing community where we get to inspire each other and we get to realize that a rising tide truly lifts all boats. And that is what it's all about, that you already were supporting a whole extended family. But here, you are actually now starting to let assets support you, which in turn allows your reach and your light to shine even brighter and so much further. So Tex, are there any words for anyone watching this masterclass who thinking about starting their financial freedom journey? What would you say to them? Or maybe feeling they've left it too late, or they're a salaried employee, or they can't do it. What would be your advice?
And I would say really it's about putting your mind to it and never doubt for a moment that there will be positivity out of it, and really just go out and do it. I realized that if I were to wait to have every T crossed and I's dotted, that I was not going to get to any place. So it's about just putting that key into the ignition, switch that starter button, and just never find the off button, rather find the pause in the process. So just do it, because there's learning out of doing something wrong, and there is no learning in not doing anything at all. So I would rather push and learn out of my mistakes, better them, and then continue on the journey.
And how important has the Financial Freedom University community and being within the Financial Freedom University container, so to speak, being to you, I think, as part of this, everything that you've now got in place for you?
Very much inspiration, especially when you go to the page and then you read other people's stories. That helps a lot. But then the other thing that I've realized is that we starting, much as most of the relationships are online, but they become so continuous and contagious. For example, the online program that I'm doing with Bernadette now, I know there are likes of there are some people who are on the same program that we started together on this program, you know, and like, so I just forget the first name, the Sing lady in Durban. I know she is in the program. So building those relationships and having a soundboard, yes, that helps quite a lot in this process. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you once again. Thank you for your time. You get on home now, and thank you for your
Definitely. Okay, thanks. I really appreciate it.
And yeah, just thank you for everybody else joining us.
Oh, let me just end on this note. My son, he's 14 now, and then he would see all this chocolates, drinks, and stuff, and then he says to his friend one day, he says, "Hey, brah, it's very difficult to sit with these things and you don't eat them, man." And I said, "No, man, it's about responsibility. You cannot eat the stock." You know.
I love that.
Yeah. Yes.
So maybe the next thing is he's going to have a vending machine in his own name, and then he'll definitely be protecting the stock.
Yes, I appreciate the little that I could share. It will continue to shape the journey as we go, and then I will share as I refine it going forward. Thanks a lot, Anne. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. And Nikki says, unless your son buys that stock.
Okay, definitely.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.